Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming up to this webinar that we organized so that we can strengthen outreach for profitable venture in agribusiness, particularly focusing on horticulture. And so today we've taken the liberty of inviting a lot of stakeholders, those that are going to be with us, continue from the production aspects. So you've seen a lot of others who provide extension and consulting services. And from today, we're going to give extension where you are going to learn much to do with horticulture, the opportunities that are existing in horticulture, and others that are going to that are existing, so that you can see how best can you fit in. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nyamfukuza. Now, please, can you unmute yourself, Madam Olga, and do introductions?
Okay, Women in Agriculture Union is an umbrella union bringing together women in agribusiness, the whole value chain in agriculture. So we are glad to be here, and we have got a number of our members that have joined us for this meeting. We're looking forward to learning and sharing what we know with everyone else on this platform. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Olga. Now we'll have Agri-Rocket Engineering.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chamkakanya from Agri-Rocket Engineering. Basically, Agri-Rocket Engineering is an agricultural engineering firm in Zimbabwe. It basically deals with the construction and designing of all agricultural structures. That is greenhouse, hydroponics, farm shells, fish ponds, vermicompost. It also deals with the consultation of all agriculture structure related issues, and the consultant is pretty much free. Agri-Rocket Engineering also sells all agricultural structures accessories. That is, for example, greenhouse. It sells greenhouse accessories. That is UV treated plastic for greenhouses. The shade nets for net houses. It also repairs and maintains all agricultural structures. So that's basically Agri-Rocket Engineering.
Thank you very much, Agri-Rocket. We're now going to be having a seminar edu tichidzidziswa na Afrostain Farmtech.
Right, thank you so much. So what usually happens with horticulture is this. Generally a misnomer when it comes to horticulture. A lot of individuals think about when someone talks about this, that allows each and every farmer to get much of the cash and at the same time producing the best that they can have. So I would want to introduce some of the crops that we are going to focus on by virtue of time. I'm going to focus on these are the general objectives that you are supposed to expect in this horticultural seminar capacity building. So what we want to do right now is to explore opportunities that are in the horticulture and know how to get started effectively without trial and error. That means if someone has done about 5 years of research doing horticulture, what that experience is that we are going to give you within that shortest period of time that we have right now. So we are also going to determine the value of the cropping calendar to know the importance of record keeping up to the methods of growing your funds as a person who is venturing into horticulture. Of course, horticulture is one of the enterprises that has got much of the headache when it comes to sourcing funds for our horticulture. But I'm also going to share with you, right? So these are some of the advantages and challenges. So generally, horticulture, it cannot be denied that one of the nutritious food for the farmer and the household. And particularly, if you have got your own horticulture garden, that is the only way to get fresh vegetables is usually by having your horticultural garden. So if you are someone who's want to have a horticultural garden, the best way to do so is to have your horticulture garden, because generally for something to be regarded as fresh, it must be at least 1 hour from the garden. So that means anything that you would consider as fresh that you buy in the shops and so forth, or anyway, after 1 hour, it's no longer a fresh produce. So the other thing is horticulture is what quick returns. So this is just almost someone can just tell you, but how does the quick returns come into from the sales? You understand that. Let me give you an example. For example, if a year has got about 4 seasons, which is 365 days, and someone decides to venture into the production of cabbages, for instance, you will notice that within a year, a person can actually have got 4 cycles, and selling all those, getting maximum returns and maximum cash. But for someone who is into, for example, maize production or tobacco, you cannot equate that to that amount. So if someone wants to have a very quick cash from a produce, the best way to do so is to go to the horticultural sector. Then, of course, they are linked to the high prices for the crops that are grown off season. It then comes into the issue when someone talks about going against the tide. You understand that we've got crops like broccoli that are usually known that to be produced in the winter season. But nowadays you can find some ways in which you can use those crops that can actually be that can be grown in that specific period. Then when it comes to of course, the challenges, especially this time of the season, you understand that almost everyone, in fact, about 40% of the farmers that I spoke to, they are having challenges of diseases, and diseases usually proliferate and they increase in quantities, particularly because of the increased heat, the increased challenges of humidity. Horticulture is a business where it's like just a straw in the path, or just straight walk. It has got its own immense challenges, which some of them we are going to discuss, and some of those are what farmers are actually focusing on. So these are some of the possible challenges flooding the market. And over the past period, I want to give you cabbage, where someone just was told that cabbage is one of the most, of course, generally or historically, we used to have about a single cabbage going from $1 to $50. But right now, cabbage is easily stormed to about a single dollar, going for being able to buy 30 or even 20 cabbages, which is one of the biggest challenges. And those prices cannot even sustain a single farmer when it comes to selecting which crops. Then how can I get back to the field? So it is an issue that is going to show you that horticulture alone, if you do your thorough research, in other words, it will require you to have a market intelligence. Primarily, those farmers are not even aware of what crops should be, what time of the season are we going to focus on that. So for the smart farmers, the precision farmers, you understand that the best way to do so is to avoid focusing on generally asking someone from just anywhere. Remember, a farmer in Bulawayo cannot produce the same produce at the same time with a farmer in Harare, primarily because of the proximity to the market that they are going to sell. And also, primarily in they can actually find the market right now, because it is far much better to do so at because of the change in the way in which the climate permits them to produce. Then we faced with those diseases, you understand that some of the issues that we are going to focus on are issues to do with the crop protection. We now need to have a crop protection program that is well tailored to meet and fight what we are going to have. So if someone is just interested in doing horticulture without a prior plan on how are we going to control the pests and diseases, obviously we are going to have a 50-50 share with the pests that are going to be focusing on your or predating on your crop. So for the meantime, let me talk about getting started effectively on horticulture. The starting point when it comes to horticulture is not even focusing on finding what should I do as a farmer or which one should I focus on. The best thing to start effectively is to identify a reliable market, not necessarily a market. Remember, if you are talking to someone like me, I can order your detailed stage so that you can produce something that is meaningful, and at the end of the day, produce something that can actually sustain your means of production. Then one of the other things that we need to focus on is, I've seen a lot of farmers who complain about the issue of having a very limited space for doing crop production and other very minor issues that are usually there. So you understand that the best way to do so is the best, and if not the better way, to actually achieve what one of the best ways of facing the market is to do some of the minor things like value addition. It can mean a lot of things, and not necessarily focusing on producing. Obviously, anyone can produce, but there are some of these very minor things that are usually going to assist in value addition, packaging, and transporting to the farmer might mean a lot. So value addition is got a varied ways in which you can actually benefit. For example, just a matter of drying, just a matter of curing, canning. For example, things like to do with tomatoes, you can even produce your tomato paste, your tomato puree, your tomato powder. All those are going to be assisting us in terms of producing the best that we can. So after knowing that, you understand that there is need to do an economic analysis, of course, of the horticulture sector as an entity. So one of the things that I want you to focus on is, I've put the logo for the Sustainable Development Goals, that is the global goals. You understand that we need to produce something that is in a smart way. And if someone who is just like a farmer who is venturing, you understand based on the trends that are currently happening, you see that we've got the COVID pandemic, a lot of travel bans are being witnessed almost everywhere, and we are witnessing a lot of things that are affecting us. So it's actually something that is potentially going to assist you in terms of the best. So the costs that are some of the things that you're actually supposed to that you are likely to include those that are highlighted there, and including some of the costs that we are likely going to pay. Of course, horticulture itself, by virtue of being a very high productive and a lucrative venture, it cannot come on simply or cheaply. Definitely, that will not be farming that you'll be talking about. So it is actually very good for us to talk about things that really exist and things that can actually prove tested and tried, so that when you are talking to the next person, you can actually see that what we are supposed to do is something that can be implemented, copied, or modeled by someone. But generally, these are some of the general things that are going to assist. Much of the things that I want to talk about is the cost of input, the quality seed, fertilizers, chemicals, farming equipment, and so forth. You'll notice that these are the major ingredients in each and every farming venture. So a farmer, a precision farmer, should focus on finding the best alternative ways in which you celebrate at the end of the season that I've done it by way of critical thinking and not necessarily copying and pasting the next farm. And remember, a lot of things they have to take into place so that we can focus on the best that we can do. Right. I also want to talk about things that are the cropping calendar. This is one of the critical elements in which farmers should focus on. And for this particular case, I want to give an example of a cropping calendar. There's the one thing that is usually circulated on Facebook, social media, and so forth, and farmers quote that as a cropping calendar for horticulture. But to be honest, that's not a cropping calendar that is usually circulated. That in January we are supposed to put broccoli, we are supposed to put butternuts, we are supposed to put. Need to look at general or ordinary things. Remember, ordinary things are not going to put standard. What you're only going to get is ordinary results. So if you want to move up a step further from the ordinary, you need also to focus on that. So for us to do so, we need to develop our own personal cropping calendars for each and every farmer. Do not worry about if you don't know how to do it. we are going to assist you in how to produce that effectively. Then on the other things is things on the cropping calendar that you're going to put to draft. You are supposed to do the planting dates, the input cost and usage level, after your own financial or sales records, so that you determine at the end of the day, were you producing sufficiently or you are just doing so for pity. Business is about profit, and it's not. That is why it is different from agro charity. We would have done or even produced for someone for free, but this is business. And if you are a farmer who is in business, you need to focus on manipulating by way of changing your cognitive process of thinking on how are you going to reduce the cost of production and not minimize the quality of the produce, or better still, minimize the quality of the or compromise your financial pockets. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm also going to try to manipulate your cognitive process or understanding of the terrain of horticulture by way of, things like how you view agriculture. I'm sure recently I've been asked by a single farmer. We met on phone call and he asked, I'm not sure if he is available right now, but he asked me, but agriculture in a marriage kind of there's no by virtue of this person is not that way. Moving on to another thing that is to do with the record keeping. So for the farmers, that I want you to record keep the same as the cropping calendar. The information that you keep for the records, the cropping calendar is part of the records that you're going to keep. But for this particular case, farmers should know how much they have spent and how much income they've earned, so that they should determine, is this agribusiness a worthwhile investment, or is it just something that you can just to focus on. Then the other thing is knowing your market. I've highlighted this on my introduction that it is something that you are supposed to focus on. Almost everyone right now in Zimbabwe, or most of the farmers, what they are good at is production. But when it comes to marketing, it then comes on to another challenge. What then this implies is that what you need are not necessarily the skills of production. You are also supposed to know the skills of marketing. Marketing alone, of course, is not going to assist you, but you also need to understand the skills of marketing and sales, so that you better understand how are you going to do and how are you going to produce the best of yourself. So these are some of the ways in which you can find the market. I'm sure you have seen some of these. I'm not going to say all of them for the sake of our time. Then on our sales tip, these are some of the things that you need to focus on, depending on the project that you are focused on. Then we also need to go to value options like these ones. Of course, here we put our own.
Thank you, Mr. Wencelas Nyamfukudza, for the wonderful training. We're going to be having a presentation from SASA NutriPlant Organic Fertilizers. So over to Mr. Ngonidzashe Chandiwana.
Okay, thank you very much, Wency, for the wonderful presentation. We indeed learning. We continuously support learning so that we continuously improve the way we do our agriculture, especially in horticulture. Ngoni Chandwana is my name, from SASA. Like I said earlier on, we from SASA, we believe when setting a foundation for organic farming, which is exactly what we are doing. We are laying a foundation for organic farming. So let me just try to share my screen here, and I'll go through with us. Right. I hope we can all see my screen. With SASA NutriPlant Organic Fertilizer, laying the foundation for organic farming. Like I said earlier on, if we are going to be serious in horticulture, especially in market penetration for export markets, we need to seriously consider doing our horticulture in an organic way, making sure we go 100% organic. It gives us a leverage in the market. So SASA is a Zimbabwean company distributing SASA agricultural products. And basically, as a way of introduction, we discovered agricultural technologies that has been proved to effectively turn the agricultural sector, which is the technology of essential nutrients and the technology of natural organic fertilizer. Now, the usage of essential nutrients has been proved to improve the performance and production of plants. Likewise, the technology of organic fertilizer will yield the cell, thereby increasing yield and productivity of plants. So using these two technologies, the essential nutrients technology and the fertilizer, organic fertilizer technology, will significantly improve yields, or also reducing production costs and helping the farmer get more from their labor. The problems that we are facing in agriculture generally, not only in Zimbabwe, but across the world, is we have got these four major questions on how to increase the yield. Every farmer wants to increase their yield, and how to reduce the production cost. A lot of people are taking time to go into agriculture because of the production cost, but they're saying it's too expensive to produce. So how to reduce the production cost becomes a very critical question, and how to heal the damaged soils. You know that most of our soils in Zimbabwe and across the nations of the world have been damaged by continuous use of chemicals. So we need to find a way of fixing the damaged soils because they are affecting our yields. And also how to optimize the function of the plant cell, which is something that has been lacking in the agricultural field. Now, from our SASA, from our research, our product comes in terms of addressing, firstly, the last question, how to optimize the function of the plant cell, which has not been dealt with for years in the agricultural arena. But as we deal with that, it also addresses other functions. Now, from a biological perspective, I would want us to get this. Now, in animal cell and the plant cell, they are just the same. Animal cell and plant cell. The only difference is the cell wall and cell membrane. But mukana animals, tunopama amino acids, vitamins, minerals around. Asukuma plants, tungopa NPK and some few micronutrients. So what we are doing is we are disadvantaging the plant cell because we are not feeding it like we are doing to the animal cell. So what SASA did is to come up with this brilliant product, which has got essential nutrients feeding the plant cell, so that our plant cell can also be performing at its optimum. I'll give you this as an example. If you can see from my screen, it's like a lady who is baking. You have got these ingredients that you're seeing there, your eggs, your flour, blah blah blah. For you to get a good cake, you need a functioning oven. If your oven is not functioning well, no matter how expensive your ingredients, you are not going to get a good cake. Now, this is what is happening in the agricultural arena. The ingredients becomes the fertilizers which you are putting. But for us to get an optimum yield, we need to have a functioning oven in the way of a functioning plant cell. Now, our oven in agriculture is the plant cell. So if our plant cell is not functioning well, no matter how much fertilizers we put, we are not going to get optimum yield. So what SASA is doing is bringing in the element of essential nutrients, which is coming to equip or to improve the functioning of the plant cell, making sure our plant cell is at its optimum performance. So with minimal fertilizers and a functioning plant cell, which is functioning at its optimum, we are going to get the optimum yield from that crop. So that's the technology, essential nutrients technology. Yes, as I tried to make it a bit scientific so that we understand what we are saying when you say essential nutrients technology, but that's basically organic farming that we are talking about. So the conventional agricultural practice of using only chemical fertilizers has actually become a continuous systematic error because it causes imbalances in the nutrients, damaging the soils and the microorganisms, and reducing, obviously, the quality of agricultural produce. So the essential nutrients concept is coming in to address some of these challenges. Essential nutrients contains amino acids, fatty acids, your monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, vitamins, minerals, all these things that are needed by the living organisms. So SASA is introducing those to the plant cell so that our plant cell is working at its optimum efficiently, increasing productivity. I'll give you, for instance, the reason why we need the top dressing, for example, is for chlorophyll synthesis. That's why we need the nitrogen. But for instance, yield production determined by chlorophyll, The synthesis of chlorophyll in any plant is a function of amino acids, like the glutamic acid, one of the essential nutrients. So our product is providing the essential nutrients which deals with what the plant would require. So for horticultural guys, we are talking also organic here. SASA is 100% organic. So besides equipping the plant or the plant cell for optimum production, we are also introducing organic fertilizers, which is what we want in terms of organic production. So basically the constituents of SASA in terms of the East constituents is mostly amino acids with a lot of functions which I'll skip for today. So I'll go to the benefits of using this brilliant fertilizer called Sasa Nutriplant organic fertilizer, especially if you are doing horticulture. Firstly, you are going to be doing organic farming, which and it will give you a leverage in your market. Obviously, if you are organic produce, you've got a leverage in your market in terms of getting more market. And the produce from organic fertilizers, they tend also to stay fresh for a longer period in the market. But most importantly, SASA will reduce your production cost by at least 50%. Because our 1 liter of SASA will cover 1 hectare of your produce without the need of any other top dressing, especially if you have had your soil base well nourished by organic fertilizers like just manure. So we reduce your production cost by 50%, but it increases yield by at least 30%. How does it increase yield? SASA is bringing in essential nutrients to the functioning of the plant cell. Because our plant cell is now functioning at its optimum, is going to be producing at its optimum. So we are going to be increasing yield if we're going to use this new 21st century fifth technology fertilizers that we are bringing. Because these are essential nutrients, they are also going to feed the natural microorganisms in the soil, the nitrogen fixing bacteria and stuff like that. So SASA will help to enrich the soil and also to heal the cell. It has also a buffering effect in terms of the pH, soil pH, giving your soils the alkalinity flair that it needs. Then it promotes plant disease resistance. How does it do that? What SASA does, it goes and equips your plant cell. Now, corona asi aine mamwe pre-existing conditions anokurumidza kurwara kana kuaffectwa sterilic nemhaka yei nekuti body yake haikwanisa kufighta off chirwere on its own. Macells ake body ari weak or ari compromised because of kurwara kwaanenge aita nezvimwe zvirwere. Asi kana body yako iri health, macells ari health, ukabatwa neflu, ukabatwa necorona, body yako inokwanisa kuita fight off the disease on its own. That is what we are talking about kuma plant cells edu. Kana plant cell yedu yaitwa enriched ne SASA essential nutrients ari musasa inenge yahealth, plant cell yedu yakaguta pamusoro pekuproduce zvakanaka zvakawanda. Plant cell yedu inokwanisa kurwisa zvirwere on its own because iri health nekuda kwema essential nutrients ayapuwa neSASA. Saka ma-instances ezvirwere in your horticulture anenge amashoma. Saka zvinoredusawo cost yako yemishonga yaunoda kurwisana nayo nezvirwere because plant yako iri health kudhara. Then it also, that's what we are talking about, promotes plant disease resistance. It also increases drought tolerance. Pakaitaka dry spell in your horticulture field, that's babo, rafa, or something happens, or mazuva akawanda usina kudidza. Because plant cell rako riri healthy, harisi kukurumidza kuaffectwa nekushayikwa kwemvura. So it's going to tolerate a drought season better than a plant in nutrients mashoma. It's not plant cell yakasimba. It also helps kurwisana nemakonye. SASA irurwisana nemakonye zvikuru sei varimi vechibage vashandisa SASA. They also have been helped a lot by this in terms of fighting the armyworm. So it reduces production cost, it increases yield, it also enriches the soils, it promotes plant disease resistance and increases plant drought tolerance, also fights armyworm. Those are some of the advantages that you get from using SASA. The benefits of SASA obviously to soil, just for us who are doing horticulture, for organic farming, it helps the soils, increasing the farm output. I told you about feeding the microorganisms and also in terms of adjusting the soil pH. increases the pH buffering capacity. Reducing fertilizer usage in terms of any cropping is what is key in terms of reducing your cost. That's why I talked about reducing your cost by at least 50%. But one of the advantages that SASA brings is also it's cheap and easy to transport. Your 1 liter bottle is going to cover your 1 hectare. So where you needed 16 bags of fertilizers, you just need your 1 liter bottle. So you have reduced your transport cost or even your storage cost. And it also prevents the growth of viruses and fungi, like I was telling you, bacteria in plants, reducing the cost of mshonga. Then I told you crops grown with SASA have a higher shelf life than those grown with chemical fertilizers. So you have an advantage in the market besides the increase in yield, obviously. So let me just conclude my presentation with a brief on how to use the SASA NutriPlant organic fertilizer. SASA NutriPlant organic fertilizer is a foliar fertilizer. It's a liquid fertilizer. So the 1 liter bottle of SASA will cover 1 hectare for the whole planting season. But the 1 liter bottle is diluted with a maximum of 1,000 liters of water, O&O. But how to do that? For you to spray 1 hectare of crop, of any crop, you need about 200 liters of water, and you use 200 mils of SASA diluted into the 200 liters of water. That will cover your 1 spray. So SASA 1 liter will give you about 5 sprays in your 1 hectare of crop. So that means you can use 1 liter of SASA for 1 hectare for the whole season. It's 1 mil into 1 liter. So 20 mils of SASA is diluted into 20 mils of 20 liters of water for any spray. So basically, what we encourage farmers to do for horticulture, I'm going to zero in for 100% organic farming horticulture. Soil base becomes very critical. Saka tinokurudzira varimi kuti vaite soil testing nezvimwe zvakadaro unzwisise kuti soil rako rakagwinya uri kuguta zvakadii nechikafu. So if you want to do 100% organic, we encourage you to focus more on feeding your soil with manure before you start planting, whichever organic or horticultural crop you want to do. Manure pasi, then start before we plant. What we do, we inoculate our seeds in our SASA NutriPlant organic fertilizer. How do you inoculate? You take 20 mils of SASA, you put into 20 liters of water, then you soak your seed overnight. That's what we call that process inoculation. What we are doing is we are feeding our seed with the nutrients so that it's ready for a good harvest in terms of a good germination in terms of germination percentage. You get 100% germination if you inoculate your seed overnight. But before you plant your seed, we encourage you to spray the planting rows. Your 20 mils in 20 liters of water, then you spray the planting the rows before you plant. If you are doing a hectare, it's 200 mils in 200 liters of water. You spray your planting rows before you plant. Then you plant your crop. Then the first spray that you do after germination is when your crop has got 3 to 5 leaves. Because this is a foliar fertilizer, we're supposed to be spraying on the leaves. So the moment we see 3 to 5 leaves, our crop is ready for the first foliar spray after germination. So your 200 mils of SASA in 200 liters of water will be used to spray your 1 hectare of crop after it has got your 3 to 5 leaves. Then for horticulture, we encourage you to be spraying your crop after every 7 to 10 days. So after 7 days, you go again with your SASA to spray your crop. So because your 1 liter will give you about 5 sprays. So after germination, you have got at least 4 sprays that you can put on your crop after every 7 to 10 days. 200 mils in 200 liters of water, you spray your 1 hectare. If you're using a knapsack, 20 mils in 20 liters of water, you spray using a knapsack. But don't mix in the knapsack. You mix your fertilizer in an open bucket so that we have got thorough mixing and put it in your knapsack and spray. So inoculation of seeds with SASA 6 to 10 hours prior to planting. Then you spray the planting rows before planting. We recommend that you use manure for a good soil base on 100% organic farming. Your next spray is to be done soon after germination when your plant has 3 to 5 leaves. Subsequent sprays after every 7 to 14 days with our SASA. We encourage that you spray at dusk or in the evening when it is cool and not windy, or when it is overcast, so that your plant can fully absorb the SASA nutrient organic fertilizer. You will need about 4 to 8 hours before it rains or before you irrigate the plant after spraying SASA. So basically, that's us from SASA. Unless we've got another question, I will try to end my presentation here. So we have got 1 liter packs for SASA, which covers 1 hectare, but we also, our 1 liter bottle is costing $50 US. So where you were supposed to use about $400, you can actually be using $50 US plus your manure. That's how effective in terms of reducing your cost this SASA can be. We also have got 100 ml bottles, 100 ml bottles for small scale farmers. The 100 ml bottle costs $5 US, but the dilution is the same. 20 mils of SASA in 20 liters of water. 20 mils of SASA in 20 liters of water. So for today, I think I'm done. And unless I've got some questions coming from the floor. So SASA new plant organic fertilizer, we are laying the foundation for organic farming. If it's not you, SASA, PASA. You have sprayed with SASA, you will definitely become successful in your horticulture venture. Thank you very much. Our number is on the screen there, and or our contact details will also be given you. Thank you very much for today. I see someone is raising their hand for a person. Let me just address some of the questions.
There's no need for me to buy
as I said, you spray in rows at planting, also with manure. Now, let me repeat that and correct that section. We're saying we want to do 100% organic farming, but we realize most of our soils are not, they are poor. They've been damaged by a lot of the chemical fertilizer usage, chemicals that we use in farming. So SASA can be used both as basal and top in terms of its application. But for us to get a better yield, we want to make sure that we enrich our soils in terms of fertilizing it. That's why we encourage farmers to use manure so that we have got enriched soil base. So we encourage you to use manure in your horticulture garden or horticulture plot. Kugadzisa ivhu redu ratiri kuti ranyanya kukuwadzwa harisina kusimba zvakanaka. But the spraying what we are doing, inoculating and spraying on the planting rows before we plant, is actually a form of basal application that SASA gives. But that will then help you if you have also used manure to make sure your soil is rich. But after 3 to 4 years of using SASA, your soil will be very, very rich and healthy. You may actually be seeing no need to be using the manure after that, because we will be able to cover the fertility that we need on our soil. Then SASA is a foliar spray. What about basal dressing? Someone balance me this. This is what I've answered. SASA is a foliar spray. It's predominantly a foliar spray. We are spraying on the leaves. Can we use SASA for leaf blight in tomatoes? SASA is not a herbicide or a fungicide. SASA is an organic fertilizer. But because SASA is equipped your plant cell by giving it nutrients, your plant cell is now able to fight diseases on its own. So you will not have many instances of diseases. How SASA helps you to deal with these diseases or things is it helps you in terms of equipping the plant cell to fight on its own. Another question there. Can we use SASA for light blight? That's 1 liter of SASA is $50 US. Yes, Mr. Wensi, I think I'm done.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chabana. Thank you. That was a very informative presentation. That is much of the thing that I'm sure you understand from the beginning when we talk about strategic farming, in which I was usually, so it's usually a matter of understanding what it actually means to produce the best. I was talking about the issue of precision farming, and it's talking about Israel. Company Israel, I talk about the other countries that are almost advanced in terms of technology. They are focusing and they are shifting from the general first generation settlers into the fifth generation. Why? Right now in Zimbabwe, almost we've got a quite number of fertilizers that are actually being used, and more specifically, they are foliar fertilizers. So, vegetables that are actually tailored and destined to use. So, I think I want to thank some of our to focus on high value crops. What we mean by high value crops, I'm talking about crops that can give you the maximum productivity within the shortest possible time, and crops that will give you maximum productivity in terms of use, in terms of generally we get a cage if they are tomatoes, you get a cage, how much do you sell that? If they are carrot papers, if they are how much do you get? That is the huge savings area that we're talking about. So in this particular case, I think I would want to welcome Presenter, which for this moment, allow me to introduce or welcome Presenter on the platform.
Opportunity, very good morning to you once again. I'm Kudam Gwaga from Syngenta Vegetables. So without wasting your time, I'm just going to make a presentation. I mean when I say that we are there to bring integrated crop solutions. The issue is that Syngenta is a global leader in the agricultural spectrum. And as you know that we are very active in ensuring that we really improve our global food security and also enable our farmers to use the resources which are available like in a much better way. So this can only be achieved by providing farmers with crop protection solutions, seed. So like as what Wensi had said that Syngenta also collaborates highly with industry partners, NGOs, even the government to support the SDGs via the UN. And as well, we are very committed to promote sustainable agriculture through innovative research and technology. I go on to the next slide. So here I just have got figures which can help you understand Syngenta in numbers. So here's an illustration of 2018 in figures. So like our sales for the whole group, they go up to 13.5 billion USD dollars. And we've got more than 27,000 employees, and we are there in more than 90 countries. What this really illustrates is that for Zimbabwe and other, even Africa or even Asia, our solutions, they're global, which means that we are also in tune, or we are moving with time in regards to research and what we are facing in regards to disease resistance, even the issue of some pests, some insects. We really emphasize on research. So I think for your own information, Syngenta invests more than $4 billion every year for research. So we are really indeed a research-based company. I think I can go on to the next slide, where I can just share with you that we've got 6 commitments we have, which we call the Good Growth Plan, where we say that we want to see more food and less waste. How can that be done? It can be done by making crops more efficient. That is increasing the average productivity of the world's major crops by 20%. Then we also focus on biodiversity and less degradation. What we're saying is that we are there to rescue more farmland, because what we have, like as the key resource, is soil. So we really emphasize as well to improve the fertility of soil and at the same time enhancing biodiversity in farmland. Then on the issue of more health and less poverty, we are saying that Syngenta is also there to really empower our smallholder farmers and also help people stay safe. That's why you see, even if you're going to use our insecticides, many of them, they've got a green label, which means that they are very, very safe to use. And also, we look after every one of us. Then I think to move on into the main issue of today, which is horticulture. Syngenta has got a very broad vegetable seed portfolio, whereby we distribute our hybrid seed here in Zimbabwe via our channel partners, which are Seed Grow Vegetables, Interba Trading, AGT Foods, Prime Agro, as well as ZFC. So what does this say? This means that Syngenta here in Zimbabwe, we are non-commercial as Syngenta, but we are there to provide you the technical advice that you need. So here are some of the products we've got from Syngenta. We've got a very wide range of products. I'm sure you are going to see it when I go straight into the handbook that we've got from Syngenta. Then also we've got the Syngenta crop protection portfolio, whereby we are saying that we span our treatment from seed treatment. We also have got herbicides. We also have got fungicides, because plenty of our farmers right now, they are facing some issues of fungi diseases, especially late blight due to the rains. So what we are saying is that all those range of fungicides are available here in Zimbabwe for use. Some of them are preventative, some of them are even curative. Then we also have got insecticides, which are available. I'm sure you've heard about the issue of the 4-armyworm in our maize crop, the 2-tab-solita in our tomatoes. We've got the solutions for you right here in Zimbabwe. For instance, we've got Ampligo, which some of my farmers want to call the Rolls Royce of chemicals, because it is a bit pricey, but it really works, and it also ensures that you do not have consistent pest problems. Then I go on into the handbook, which I was going to present to you. I think I can just stop sharing, and then I share with you from my PDF so that we just go through the handbook together. When we were growing up, we used to hear of drumhead, Copenhagen varieties, which are mostly OPV varieties. And they used to take about 120 days to mature after transplanting. So what we then did is Syngenta is that we then bred a variety which is very early, which is Fabiola, which does 65 days. So which is almost half of the time that we used to spend here in Zimbabwe whilst we're growing our cabbages. So what this has done, it has really changed the spectrum in the sense that your cost per hectare have even gone down by half. Your irrigation, your fertigation program. So here is what we've got Fabiola. But even though we've got Fabiola, there are also some farmers who feel that, you know what, I would really want a larger head than Fabiola, because Fabiola, it can only grow up around 4 to 5 kgs, and in some instances can go up to 8 to 10 kgs. But there are those farmers who really say, you know what, I'm from Manicaland, and we really want the large head, and we also have an issue with black rot in Manicaland. Then we bred Intelo for them. So Intelo is a very large and uniform head, which is also ready in about 90 to 100 days after transplanting. So what happens is with Intelo is that we always try and combine what is good for the farmer, and at the same time trying to also combine that with a form of disease resistance in regards to the seed itself. So that's why you realize that we are now saying that Zimbabwe is time that we move from the OPVs to the hybrids. And then some of the farmers will say, fine, for example, I can buy 100 grams of seed at $5. But why is it your Fabiola is at around $12 or $18? What we are selling there, it is not really the seed itself. What we are selling to you is the disease resistance which is there, which means we are saving you money in regards of what you're going to use in your crop protection regime. And at the same time, you're going to have higher yields, because if you're going to focus, for example, with Intello, with the yield of about 120 tons per hectare for your 40,000 plants, and for example, your kg is being put about 50 cents a kg. So what we are then selling to you is that that whole package where there is the disease resistance as well as the high yield. Then I go on to the other sectors where we've got other varieties. I think I can rush off to the red cabbage. I'm sure what Wencelas was saying from Afrostain, that farmers need to diversify. Like I'm sure like everyone out there is growing the white cabbage, but some of us really want to enjoy our salads with both the white and the red cabbage. So like what I always advise my farmers is that where you grow a hectare of cabbage, why not say out of your 40,000 plants, just make sure that 5,000 of them are red or 10,000 of them are red cabbage. Because also there is a market which is untapped of the red cabbage, because even if you go to many supermarkets right now, you really find that they will ask you, oh, you've got the red cabbage, they'll be interested in that. So it is also just a way of saying to farmers, really diversify within your farm. And also remember, it is going to cost you the same amount of money to grow a red cabbage. Same thing with the white cabbage, same thing with your broccoli, same thing with your cauliflower. The cost per hectare is going to be the same, but what is going to be different is the amount of money or income that you're going to get out of those crops. Then now I'll go on to the other crops as well. We've got the broccoli, which is called Montop. Then also we've got cauliflower. So I think like one thing I want to say about our cauliflower from Syngenta, which is called Spesta, is that you can really grow this one in both the summer and the winter. And what is very key about it is because what you are going to market is this white card. So what the leaves of this variety does is that they hold the card together, which means it's like a form of protection, such that when you go to market your cauliflower, it is really well protected, firm, heavy, and it will be having high quality white cards, which are going to also attract your buyers from the supermarkets here in Zimbabwe. Then I'll rush off to introduce to you our kale, which is called Verdura. So what happened with Verdura is that we realized that in Zimbabwe, many people, they like their rape, they like their covo, but what happens with rape is that your harvest window is so short, such that in about 2 months after transplanting, it's already finished. So here is a soft vegetable which can be harvested for up to 6 months, but which is as tender as your rape, and which has got those attractive leaves. And also, what is key about Verdura is that it is just not like your ordinary vegetable out there. With kale Verdura, it has got more iron than meat and more calcium than milk. So what you're also doing is that you're also even like improving your own health, your own well-being. So that is what from the Syngenta range of vegetables. Then we've got Winoto. So like the Winoto is just more like your kale, but it's only that it is more crinkly, or it is more curly than the ordinary vegetables that we are used to. We also have got lettuce at Syngenta, which is called Waikiki, and the other one which is called Corio. Then I would want to also say that such crops like your lettuce are the easiest crops to grow, because you know what, it's very rare for you to face so much diseases with your lettuce. And also they are very early, like at around 45-50 days, you're already harvesting. So even if you check on someone who's growing some other crops, that will take 90-100 days. It means you would have done 2 cycles like within that space of time. Then I'm just going to rush to the tomatoes. Here at Syngenta, we also have got a wide range of tomatoes. Here is your Chibli. So with Chibli, it is what you call a dual purpose variety, which can be used for both your fresh market as well as the processing. So this is where your tomato sauce comes from, your puree comes from. It's not every tomato which can be turned into your sauces or your purees. What they look at is what is called bricks. So that is the sugar content inside the tomato. So with Chibli, I've realized that so many farmers, they like it because it's also a favorite even in Barim Sika and even nowadays in Manica, in Beira. So the reason is that it has got more shelf life. Like you can really store your Chibli from anything from 14 days to 20 days without it being rotten or even it going bad. Then also, just because it is a tomato which is there for your paste or your sauces, it is very good as well with your soup. So that's why you hear even our grandmothers and even our mothers, they'll say, go and buy the gem tomato. What they mean is that they want that one because it has got very good soup. Then we also have got the round ones. We have got Nash. Then we also have got another one like Chibli here, which is called Elko. This one we're going to launch it this year. It is a high yielder, this one. It can yield more than 150 tons per hectare. Then I go on to the ones for your greenhouses. Here in Zimbabwe, we've got what you call Trovista F1, which stands for tomato virus star. So like what I was saying earlier on is that what you are then going to buy from this variety is here where you see where it is written disease tolerance. Oh, this is what you're going to be buying. This variety is resistant to your mosaic virus, your leaf kill viruses, as well as your Sporidium, your Fusarium oxysporium, all these things. That is what you're buying. And also one thing about this variety is that you can grow it both in the open field as well as in the greenhouse. Then I go on to Newton as well. It is also another variety you can also grow. It also does even all the way up to 20 clusters. With one cluster, you are going to harvest at least a kg or 1.2 kgs. So even if you've got just 200 plants and you're going to be harvesting every week, that is a lot of money. So I think our handbook has got up to 68 pages. I'm not going to go through them, all of them. So like what I'll do is that I'll share with you or I think via email, then like each one of you can have a soft copy. But then before I close also this chapter, I just wanted to say in the handbook, you're going to see a section which says tomato spray program. What it does is that we've got the program for you from day 0 up to harvesting time. And it also has got list of what you can spray. For example, if you're going to face some aphids, what do you spray? Whiteflies, what do you spray? And we've got this spray program for all the areas. That is your brassicas, your cucumbers, your watermelons, your onions. The list is endless. So I think from here, I'm just going to summarize again on my slides, and then I then finish off my presentation. So I'm sure you can see from this photo that, so it's an example of what Syngenta is in the paper sector, where we've got very nice varieties of paper. Here's the red one, which is called Indra, and the one which is yellow, which is called Admiral. So here I was just trying to show you that these are the high genetics that Syngenta has got for you available here in Zimbabwe. And now I was going to say more on the training on what we have done here in Zimbabwe and our commitment to farmer training, like what we are having right now. And I'm sure WNC had already done a lot on that. And here is also just some photos and the support that we offer our farmers. We come to the field, we even have a chat with you. It's only that nowadays there's the virus which is called COVID. So we will try by all means to be safe, but we are just a phone call away. You can just reach us wherever you need some advice, where even you need some pre-planting advice. Even before you plant anything, you just want to understand the horticultural sector in Zimbabwe. We are available for you. I think I'll end my presentation here. Thank you very much to everyone. I think I hand over back to Afrostain.
Yes, thank you so much for this. It was actually a wonderful presentation, to say the least. So I've seen that a lot of farmers were actually interested mostly in the crops that you have, your crop range. I've heard a lot of individuals talking about the Tovi Star, its ability to withstand some of the currently affecting farmers, the challenges that are actually affecting farmers at the moment. We've seen that, like I highlighted previously, that some of the challenges that we are having for the meantime are not necessarily the challenges of pertaining to being able to produce, but you notice that the challenges that we are having right now are as a result of the excessive rains that we are receiving. So tomatoes like Tovi Star, that is the
of what's being exported and the growth. So, farming is like any other business. Behind those numbers, there are certain issues or trends that you need to understand so that you know when you are jumping onto the ship, whether you are jumping onto a sinking ship or that is going to take you where you want to go. So I'm going to talk about 4 different trends, but they are very interrelated. Most of them, are hinged on the issue of healthy living. And I think most of you have heard the term superfoods. Superfoods, these are mainly plant-based products, but you find that there are certain animal-based products as well that are considered to be very high in terms of nutrients. They are said to have, much more health benefits compared to, your ordinary products. And I think the discussion has always been happening, especially now with the pandemic. People are trying to eat health. People speak about moringa. People speak about zumbani. People speak of garlic, ginger. All those they are superfoods. And some might say these are not scientifically proven. Even the traditional or mainline superfoods, most of them, they are not really scientifically proven that they are very high in nutrients. But I think the hype there it's an opportunity for us, especially, so that we can start to grow these superfoods. So if you want to export and you want a product that is a very good and growing market, then you have to focus on superfoods. Some of them include the blueberries. There you see on my presentation on the picture, you see garlic, ginger, you see pomegranates. Those are some of the superfoods. Avocados, the moringas that I was talking about. Those are some of the products that are considered to be superfoods. And also related to that is the issue of organic food. I think this trend, even locally, we have also caught up. Most people are now preferring organic food. And for your own information, organic earns premiums. On the EU market, they earn about 30% more compared to your conventional products. But one thing that you need to consider is that your products are not organic unless if they are certified. So even if you are going to harvest them in the wild and you label them organic, it will actually, be criminal for you to label them organic. All you can do is just say natural, naturally harvested or something like that. But if you want it to be considered organic, then it has to be certified. Then the other issue also is on veggie snacks. I hope that also is visible there. I always give this example to say For me, when I'm going for lunch, perhaps I just rush and buy chicken in, or these fast foods. But I think people are becoming more health conscious now, and instead of buying themselves chicken and all these meaty foods, they are considering veg snacks. So during lunch, all they do is just eat a few grapes, some apples, a cucumber, some salad, and yes, that's the kind of food that they are eating. So this, if you look at it, it's more of a value addition for our exporters. When you do this kind of value addition, you normally get 3 times more the price of selling an ordinary product. This is the same issue again. You also have to consider your market, the demographics, how do they behave and stuff like that, because this is what you do for other businesses as well. So you do the same even for horticulture. You have to give convenience to your clients. If it is the EU market, you find that most of them, they don't spend the time at home. They leave very early in the morning, go to work, and then they come back late. So what they need is something that is easier to prepare. They don't need to spend time cutting, mixing vegetables. So all you can do is cut and mix and then send to them. Of course, this is also a bit capital intensive, because when you start cutting and packing vegetables, you require a high care center, a center that is probably the same sterility with a place where you can do an open heart surgery. It has to be that clean. So for you to have such a facility, you need to invest quite a lot. But there are other things in terms of value addition that you can do that do not require much investment, but they only need you to be innovative. Like, for instance, I know that picture, I have sort of gone for a complicated design that does not really show how it looks. But that's a watermelon, a little bit smaller than our usual watermelons, because they would want the watermelon to fit in the fridge. Put a little bit of some strings around it so that it will be easier to carry. And for that, they are getting more money than just selling, an ordinary watermelon. They've even gone to the extent of putting a sticker there. So you see the amount of effort and attention that they are putting to the project. There is the Japanese, who they've got an interesting case where they make square watermelons because they want them to fit in the fridge, and they also want to make sure that there are no challenges when you're staking your watermelons in the shop. So they make cubed watermelons. There's no genetic modification there, but all they do is that they put them in little boxes. As they are growing, they take the shape of the box, and you get prices of more than $50 per watermelon, just because of that. Right. So having said that about the trends that are driving demand, now we have to look at some of the crops or produce where we have seen a lot of gains, especially here in Zimbabwe, where we believe there's potential for growth. So I'll start with the long-term ones and then probably come to the short-term ones. I think because of COVID, there has been an increase in demand for citrus. Citrus is currently a $14.8 billion industry, and it is still growing. Our current exports are below 40 million US dollars. So you can see our share of the market is not that big. I think currently we only have around 2,600 hectares of citrus, of hectarage under export citrus. So the varieties in terms of the products, you find that your oranges, your Nagel and Valencia, they are still being exported. But you find that they are the ones probably with the least returns, because there is more focus now on soft citrus, the ones that are easy to peel. And it is because of the issue of convenience as well that we are talking about. So imagine having an orange and a soft citrus there on the table. One, you would need a knife another one is quite easier. Lemons and lime are also growing in demand, and they actually fetch better prices compared to your oranges. COVID-19 has induced growth in this particular area, and the reason why Zimbabwe also is in a very good position is that most parts of the world were affected by the Asia greening disease, which wiped away plantations in certain areas. But I think Southern Africa managed to contain that problem before it ravaged our plantations. I know the challenge is, with the period that you need to wait until you can commercially harvest citrus. But we have seen that there are varieties where you can actually there are varieties. Sorry, I think there's interference coming from somewhere. There are varieties that are coming into harvest quite earlier, and I think with a little bit of research, you can be in the market earlier than the usual time. Another area also is on macadamia. Macadamia is a fairly young industry globally. It is considered to be less than 5% of the tree nut family. So you find that there's still room. Most of Europe is still actually to get on board. And most of our exports are currently going to, Asia, China, mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And our current exports are just above 20 million per annum. But just to show you how valuable this crop is, if you know the issues that were happening during Madezi Emashurubi mine, is the same thing that also happens to macadamia. Because with macadamia, I think the prices are around $5 a kg or so. Yet probably you would have spent just $1 on that kg. So you can see the returns that are on that particular crop. We don't do much value addition here locally in Zimbabwe. We are exporting them as nut in shell. I know there's a lot of discussion in terms of how the prices would jump from $5 a kilo to $12 or even $17 a kilo if you do value addition. But there's a lot that is required. There are a lot of standards and other requirements that kick in when you start to do value addition. So most of the farmers prefer selling it nut in shell. And maybe with time, we are going to see a consolidated approach in terms of, value addition of macadamia. The other one is blueberries. Blueberries are like the poster boy for superfoods. Fairly young in sector here in Zim, but I think we have gone beyond 400 hectares now. The global market is 3.9 billion. It's and it's growing. This is capital intensive, so you find that it's mostly out of reach for most of our small scale farmers. But for those that have got the ability to raise capital, we have seen that those that have done well in this particular sector have used a hybrid approach in terms of the way they operate, where one goes to look for a financier. Probably they have the skill or they have the land, and then they find someone with the skill. So there are a lot of partnerships happening within that particular sector. You rarely find someone who is just going on with blueberries on their own, because I think the cost per hectare, the lowest that we have had so far is 75,000 per hectare, but others have gone even to invest about 200,000 per hectare. But the returns are so good that even at 200,000 per hectare, payback is normally within the second. Year. So it's quite attractive. You get prices of between $6 to $9 a kg for your blueberries, depending on the size. But just to put additional information, Zimbabwe has got a reputation, and this does not only cover blueberries, but most of the horticultural produce. I think because of our unique climate and soil types, our products are considered to be better tasting than what comes from other markets, even South Africa, even countries like Chile. So we have that reputation. And someone was explaining to say, if it is for blueberries, what happens with other countries like Chile? During the night, the temperatures drop drastically, and then the blueberries start to eat their own sugar. So at the end of the day, their taste will not be similar to what we have here in Zimbabwe. Another one again is on another opportunity is on avocado. This is a $7 billion market, with Zimbabwe currently exporting 14 million US dollars worth of avocados. What we have realized here in Zimbabwe is that it's mainly being done by corporate farmers, your big organizations. But that doesn't mean that our small-scale farmers cannot export. The model that we have realized in Kenya is that farmers are doing, some with even less than half a hectare, some with just 2 hectares. They are growing avocados for exports. And the reason why they are successful is that they have come up together and put on consolidation models that will help them create the critical mass required for exports. So someone would say, we are focusing on this, they look capital intensive, I need to have a plantation. I think it's the model and the mindset that we have that we need to change. And we need to come up with these models, these grower groups that are going to be benefiting everyone. It's very difficult to be successful on the export market if you're a small scale farmer and you want to export on your own directly. It will be expensive for you to ship, it will be expensive for you even in terms of getting your raw materials and stuff like that. So there are quite a lot of advantages in coming together. There are also opportunities in peas, Manch 2 and sugar snap peas. These are your flat peas. Zimbabwe is the second biggest supplier into the Netherlands, also the second biggest supplier into the United Kingdom. So we have a reputation and we have experience in growing of sugar snap and Manch 2 peas. This is a winter crop. I think it's quite sensitive, but I've seen that most farmers have managed to grow. We even visited an irrigation scheme in Shurubi, where they managed to export to, I think they exported to France. So I think this also can be done by small scale farmers. The budget should be around 4,000 or so per hectare, with output around 8 tons per hectare. Prices range from $1.50 to $2.20 around there. So you can do the maths. But Zimbabwe has got special supply windows. Again, that's one thing that we need to consider. There are certain times when we are the only ones, or one of the few countries that can supply a particular product. Peas included, avocados included. So during that particular time, we have leverage in terms of the pricing. So we get a favorable pricing before everyone comes in. I also want to talk about sweet potatoes. With sweet potatoes, we are not exporting sweet potatoes at the moment, but there is growing demand for sweet potatoes globally. And the market right now stands at 685 million US dollars. The variety that is in demand is the Belgrade variety, which is orange in color. Some would call it yellow. This is one of the crops that is also considered a superfood. I heard that the Europeans prefer it because they say it keeps them warm in winter. And based on our market findings, there are quite a lot of value additions and recipes that these guys are doing. It's not only like what we do, we boil them and eat them as a substitute for bread, but for them, they do sweet potato crisps. They also do, I don't know whether they will still call them French fries. They also do flour. They also do animal feed out of these sweet potatoes. So there are quite a lot of opportunities in that particular product. The biggest challenge locally is to find the right seed, the right plant material that is disease-free, that has been screened and can be certified for exports. But because of COVID, I think the market was so good. I believe this past season, the prices were ranging around $4.20 per kg. That's the retail price in Europe. I think as the farmer, you get around 30% of that value. And what we have realized is that we also have special windows to supply. That is from end of April. That is from April, I think, up to June, before other countries like Egypt and Senegal, as well as Southern Europe, kick into the market. So you have to be cognizant of these supply windows. Other products with opportunities, I'm not going to touch much on them. And this is not exhaustive. This is just to give you an indication. There are products like passion fruit, fine beans, EU, Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. They are big on fine beans as well. Baby carrots. We visited a farmer who is also doing some, colored carrots. They have got these small baby carrots that have got different colors, and they're going for the Italian market. So sometimes you also have to be clever and try to be different in what you do, so that you don't sell what everyone else is selling. So overall, baby vegetables are also in demand. I think the UK market is also big on baby vegetables. But what you need to know when you're doing baby vegetables is that you are not just harvesting your usual varieties early for you to get a baby vegetable, but there are specific varieties that are suitable for baby vegetables. And I think the seed people are better informed to give you the right varieties. Same as butternut as well. I think we were working on a very big inquiry from Bahrain, where they are looking at importing about 40 containers of butternut from Zimbabwe. This is 40 containers per month. So you can imagine the amount of butternut that can be exported. So we are currently working out on the supply windows because they also do their own production. So we have to be ready when their window is also open for us. So I think I've touched in terms of markets here and there, but just to give you an overview, I think we spoke about the EU market. The advantage of exporting to the EU market is that we can send our products duty and quota-free into the EU. No need to pay duty, and that gives us quite a leg up in terms of price competitiveness. The same also is prevails for the UK after Brexit. It's a rollover of the same conditions that we had under the EU. So there's duty and quota-free access into those markets. The African market is opening up with the Continental Free Trade Area. I think regionally we are looking at markets like Namibia, Botswana, DRC, and even northern Mozambique. Areas like Tete, very close. Actually, I think Bulawayo is further than Tete. What we have realized is there are mining activities around a particular area, normally agriculture suffers. So you find that the mining areas of Mozambique, the mining areas of DRC, there are quite a lot of opportunities to feed the mining population. And considering areas like Tete, you find that Tete, it also gets very hot certain periods of the year, to an extent that it will be very difficult for them to successfully do horticulture. And what's worrying now is that the produce that they are consuming in those mines is coming from South Africa. And the trucks will have to pass through Harare, go via Motoko Road to Tete. The same is also happening with the mines in DRC, where they are buying from South Africa. So you can imagine, even in terms of the extra logistics leg that they have to go through. Yet we are here, we have the land, we have the skills and the expertise to be growing for exports. Markets like Botswana as well, because of their climate, they are heavily dependent on imports. 90-something% of their fresh produce are imported. But you find that of those imported, probably 95% will be coming from South Africa. So we have to make sure that we also have to get a hold of those markets. We are negotiating with the Namibians also to supply certain produce. And the good thing about these markets that I'm talking about is they demand probably the same type of vegetables that we consume here. Nothing complicated, things that we are already growing, and their requirements are not as stringent as what you would get when you want to export to other markets. Another growing market is the GCC. This is the Gulf. This refers to the Gulf nations. You're talking here about Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, and all those surrounding countries. There's actually an ongoing workshop today on exports to Dubai. But we have realized that Dubai has become the second biggest re-exporter of food. They, just like the Netherlands, they are also re-exporting to other countries within their region. So once you get your foothold into the UAE market, you are as good as being everywhere within the Gulf nations. Their requirements also are not stringent. Although they are growing, there's growing interest in global gap, but you can still find quite a number of buyers that will not require you to have global gap. Global gap is a pre-farm gate certification program. I'll talk about it a little bit later. So all you need is your phytosanitary requirements, and then you are good to go. I have discussed about some of the countries where we can export fresh produce within the region. Just to show you some of these examples, if you can try to zoom in on those pictures, you can see that these were pictures that were taken in a retail shop in Botswana. It's a market survey that we did, and you can see avocados coming from Israel, all the way from Israel. Yet we are here and we have our avocados there in the Eastern Highlands. The other package also is for avocado that is coming from Mozambique. So meaning it's either going through South Africa, ending up in Botswana, or it's coming through Zimbabwe on its way to Botswana. So these are the kind of opportunities that we need to be on the lookout for. I will try to rush here. So some would say, okay, you've spoken about the horticulture sector, but who are you and how are you assisting exporters? We are the National Trade Development and Export Promotion Body of Zimbabwe. So our services include offering market intelligence in terms of where the demand is, what are the prices, in certain cases, who are the buyers. We also do export development. In export development, what we do is we build the export capacity of our local SMEs. I think I'll touch a bit on some of the projects that we are doing under export development. We also do export promotion, where we do linkages now between our local suppliers as with the international or the regional buyers. And then we are also involved in advocacy, trying to improve the ease of doing business, especially the ease of doing export business. So what we are currently doing is we are working on what we call the best model farm, because we realize that as most of the small scale farmers lack the capacity, to export, they need to invest in cold chain facilities and all that infrastructure. So on the best model farm, what we have done is we have identified medium-sized farms that are already exporting. They have the infrastructure. So we are growing out growers around those model farms. We have one in Marondera, we have one in Chikutu, Beru, and another one in Manguda. We are also working on citrus protocol to China.
My name is Victoria from Spironi Irrigation, Mining and Industrial Supplies. So Spironi Irrigation is a Zimbabwe-owned company which was established in 2006 to distribute the most comprehensive range of irrigation, drainage, bore and roll pumps, pipes, valves, and pipeline accessories in all recognized materials. As the official distributor of Spironi water pumps in Zimbabwe, we're a fast-growing and innovative organization, and since inception, Spironi has become one of the leading suppliers of comprehensive water solutions to most industries, including civil, agriculture, mining, manufacturing, construction, and chemical sectors, as well as individuals are utilizing our products. I'm having problems with my other gadget, which here is my PowerPoint. But I promise that as soon as I finish the presentation, I'm going to forward the PowerPoint to this class so you can get the PowerPoint there. So many of you are wondering where this Spironi irrigation comes in as far as horticulture is concerned. Spironi comes in with the irrigation aspect of watering the life of your crops. I have various pictures that I have to show you, as I'll be explaining some of the stuff that we do as at Spironi irrigation and some of the stuff that can help you as a horticulture farmer. So irrigation starts from the water source. Irrigation doesn't start in the field. Irrigation starts from the water source. And Spironi is a one-stop for all. That's where you find your water pumps, your pipes, as well as your irrigation components. So as a horticulture farmer, whether your water source is a bore, whether your water source is a river, whether your water source is a dam, Spironi irrigation provides you with all the water pumps that can pump water from any water source that you have. We have diesel engine pumps in case you do not have you're not using Zesa at your field. We have diesel engine pumps. We have solar pumps as well as AC pumps in case you use electricity at your farm. Yes. So we have diesel engine pumps. We have surface pumps. We We also have submersible pumps in case the water source is So one of the most important things that you have to consider when you venture into agriculture, when you venture into farming, like what Wency has mentioned, we have to take note of your water source, your water availability. As we all know, rains are not available throughout the year. Rains are not throughout the year, and so irrigation becomes a very important aspect in agriculture.
So right now we're at Speroni Irrigation's Mining and Industrial Supplies, which mainly deal with the supply of water pumps and irrigation components. As you can see, these are the water pumps that we have. We have all booster pumps of various sizes, from 0.5 horsepower to as big as 30 horsepower pumps. So we supply these pumps to farmers on a portable base or on a fixed base, depending on the choice of the farmer and as well. So we supply these pumps on a portable base and as well as on a fixed base, depending on what's best for the site of the farmer. So these are the gate valves that we use. Gate valves. We also supply farmers with irrigation components, and these are the sprinklers that we have. We have half-inch sprinklers, 3/4, 1 inch, the guns that throw a radius of 30 meters, 53 meters. Farmers who are using drip irrigation system on a large scale and commercial scale, we provide you with this filtration unit, which is a capacitor to filter water for 10 to 20 hectare field. We also supply you with irrigation pipes of different materials, poly pipes, aluminum pipes, PVC pipes, pressure tanks, in case you want to boost the pressure of your water. Some of the submersible pumps that we have, the bowl pumps that we have 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, depending on the size of your bowl casing. We have all the pumps for you at different prices and at an affordable. So those are the drip irrigation components that we have. There's a 16mm LDP pipe, there's the drip lines, the rubber grommets, the mini tub, the off-take valves, the drip-to-drip couplings. So we have every drip connector that you can think of, yet Speroni Irrigations at a very low and affordable price for you farmers.
We're based in Zimbabwe. It's number 4 Gardiner Road, Axurus, and our offices are in Tovedale, Horticulture Road, number 51283, Horticulture. So I'm here to represent Easy Seeds. I'll be talking more about horticultural crops. Easy Seeds is a seed house company which does seeds and sells seeds as well, which includes beetroot, all vegetables, and we are also into small grains seed production. And we work with all farmers, both commercial and communal farmers, together with the institutions and non-government organizations. So our main core business is seed production, and we are also into seeding production, sitting at 25 million capacity of seedling production, which includes all vegetable seedlings. And we also do sweet potato, rooted sweet potato, true potato seed, hybrid for seedling production. And we also work with small scale farmers. It is our outgrowers on small grains, vegetables, and currently we're working with farmers in March East, we've got over 250 hectares under 250 hectares under small grains, which includes sunflower, cowpeas, and we are also into vegetable market gardening. We have over 10 hectares in Marsh East, and we are also working with all farmers around Zimbabwe. And we are not only into Zimbabwe, we are also outside Zimbabwe. We are in South Africa, we are in Malawi, we are in Mozambique, we are in Uganda. We're also in Europe, in Holland, we are there. Besides that, we also have our partners in Holland work with us on the marketing of our products, especially on Europe market, which is Greenstone. In short, let me just lay out a bit on production of seedlings and also crop production. Everything starts with the farmer. A good farmer is a good planner, and also is the crop doctor. Before we do anything on the farmer knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows better about his crop before anyone comes to the farm. And we also offer professional advice, and also we've got a professional team that will work with us, helping the farmers, helping the commercial farmers and small-scale farmers to come up with better yields. And on the small scale, on the small grains production, we also do cowpeas, sorghum, sanium, velvet bean, nua bean, sugar beans, groundnuts, and also we do sanium on pastures, velvet bean, and leblab. So we also do contract farming with the farmers, both small and commercial farmers, and we also offer input, provide inputs to the farmers and also the market of our seed and of the product, final product. We give the farmer the seed, the fertilizer. At the end of the day, we buy back the seed, but on a contract basis. Basically, is a soft loan. So we encourage farmers, those who are facing difficulties in marketing their product, to join us, work together as our outgrowers of our products. And on seedlings, we also do contract farming, especially on irrigation schemes, trying to help the small-scale farmers who are into irrigation schemes. We also work with NGOs. We partner with NGOs, and also we partner with institutions, and same as commercial farmers. So in short, we are a seed house company with which offers a lot of things, especially the seed, even the inputs, but on a contract farming. So we're inviting all farmers to come up with a farming plan and work together, offer technical advice and advice services so that we bring farming to a meaningful business. I think in short, that's my presentation today.
Yes, I think there are individuals who are requesting your contact details so that they can reach you. So if you can go onto the chat screen and say, then to the participants, I'm not sure if they've got if the participants have got questions that are supposed to be shared. I think I'm sure this is now the time for us to discuss some of the questions and some contributions that you might need to share with us. Yes, those with the questions. Can I have a question from Mr. Stewart?
Okay, thank you for
you can unmute me.
The presentation. It's very much appreciated. I joined late, unfortunately, but my question is, how much capital investment would you look at in terms of starting a greenhouse? on either 300 square meters or an acre, to say, please?
Okay, so if you are starting to construct a greenhouse can start from 1.5, which is for a greenhouse that has got 100 square meters, and greenhouse for up to a hectare, which will cost you about $126. These are United States dollars. So those are some of the price ranges with which you can use in terms of determining or estimating the cost. Then when you want to, in terms of the return is usually within a period of 2 seasons or within 1 season. I got a good farmer who has actually retained every cost of the production within 1 season. He had produced colored papers. So the price ranges, as you have asked, ranges from 1.5, which is the cheapest for the meantime. And that one is a wooden greenhouse.
Okay, so we talking in terms of the frames, or including the seeding, the crops itself?
This is just for the structure, the greenhouse structure, which comes on with a fertigation tank, the trellising equipment within your structure. Then after that, it also comes in with the irrigation, the drip irrigation system. So for the crops that you're going to put, you have to buy the seedlings, or you have to nest the seedlings at your own.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. If we can have some more, thank you so much. The next question was on. Then for another thing is for those who would want to get this information, everything that particularly for those who have joined us lately, we are going to have this presentation. We are going to have this presentation on the videos that are going to be shared shortly. You can now get you can now visit our social media channels and get this information. So do not worry if you've joined lately. We've got every information that was shared before you. And thanks to the presenters who have been with us from the SASA, we've got Zimtrade, we've got WOW, we've got Syngenta, that we also have got other who might have been missed in the line, but thank you so much. So to this time, this then comes to the end of our presentation.